1, 2, 3, 4. I got thoughts running through my head. I got thoughts, can't you see? I got thoughts, the books I read. I got thoughts, won't you listen to me?
Look, let's talk about religion for a minute. And I'll talk about it in the context of the book, Drowned, and Jack Carter's reaction to religion, and also to my own. Jack and I pretty much share kind of a similar outlook on religion. Uh, and I'll go ahead and tell you what that is. Religion's fine. You know what? You want to worship whatever invisible sky friend you can think of, great. You go right ahead. No problem with you worshiping, believing, thinking whatever you want in your head and in your life. That's yours. That's your choices. Spirituality is a very individual, personal thing, and it should be encouraged. It should be nurtured, both by parents, by society, by individuals to each other. You know, your exploration of the universe is what spirituality is all about. Is you trying to figure out your place in the universe. And like I said, that should be encouraged. Religion is not the same as spirituality. Period. It's just not. Religion codifies spirituality. And again, that's fine. It creates a common spirituality for a collective of people to come together and have a fellowship, have a community. A communal, that I think everyone needs. Everyone needs to feel a part of something. And oftentimes when we have people who go off the rails, crazy mass shooters or mothers who drown their children, it's from a lack of that feeling of connectedness. Because you're not going to be connected you're not going to be empathic. You're not going to feel sympathetic towards other people if you're not around them. If you don't feel that human connection. So religion is a way to take that individual spirituality and codify it and, find the commonalities with other people of similar spirituality, similar thought process, and, become a community, become a collective. Again, positive thing. Can be a positive thing. In concept, I have no problem with that. I think that's a very human thing to want and to need, and it is admirable. So, in the sense of the communal, creating a community, religion is good. It's fine. Where I often have problems with organized religion, specifically an organized religion, an organization, a collective, is because of the inherent power that collectives have. One guy telling you what you should think, you can ignore it or not. There's that's a one-to-one dynamic, and there's power dynamics in that as well. But it's a whole different story when you have your entire community, and the churches being a community, telling you what to do, what to think, what's right and what's wrong. The collective has more influence than the individual. And when that collective has the power to essentially condemn your eternal soul to a infinity of eternity, of an eternity of damnation and suffering for whatever you're doing, then that collective power it becomes even more powerful, especially if you believe that condemnation, that damnation, not only is it a banishment from the community that as humans we all need. That is one of the reasons that religions band together. So not only is that condemnation a banishment from that sense of community, that very necessary sense of community, emotional stability and such, but it's also the very, to a religious mind, it's the very real condemnation and removal of the connection to God, to the divine, and essentially a banishment from the universe. Is that you are not part of the universe anymore. You are not worthy of the universe to look at you. And in that sense, the power of religion is greater than the power of governments. In some cases, greater than the power of family, of that, connection, that familial blood connection to your parents or your siblings or such. Which is why cults and the manipulative power of cults and cult leaders is so strong, is because it literally grabs a monopoly on the individual's sense of whether they belong with other humans or not in eternity, or even they belong in this universe. So oftentimes, a cult will be able to exert fear over a person of literally removing them from the universe, literally, spiritually. Not exactly literal, I suppose. Spiritual. So, in that sense, organized religion, for all the good it can do, can also be wielded for a great deal of evil. And has been throughout history, because humans are humans. Even though I am not I've grown up in various evangelical religions, or various evangelical denominations. Assembly of God, Baptist were the two that I went to church for most as a kid. Religions of all denominations have all had their histories of evil. The Crusades, various pogroms against Jewish people. The Crusades on the Islamic side. The conquest of Muhammad. Israel just wiping out entire friggin' countries in the Bible, if you read some of that. And granted, humanity has clearly shown it doesn't need religion to find an excuse to kill other humans. It just doesn't. But it's a great justification. And it's a great way to get people on board with that killing thing, is if, you are the righteous, they are the unworthy, let's remove them from the universe. See where I'm at with that? So, no religions are free and clear of their history of blood. Okay? And that is not to say that cancels out all the good they've done too. Not that. I try to be in the middle on that with religion. But my particular problem with organized religion often has to do with the concept that I've always been told, as in, the denominations I've raised, of Assembly of God and Baptist, are the two that I've been, that I went to as a kid and up into my teen years. I think my biggest problem with religion has always been, specifically those denominations, the idea that thought is the same as action when it comes to sin. That's my biggest thing, because for me, I try to be a thinker. I'm an intellectual. I like to think about things, but clearly I'm not always thinking about the rights and the wrongs, and clearly I will have bad thoughts. I mean, fuck, look at the books. Talking about a mother drowning her children here. I write about that. And if you read the book, I actually give the mother justification. I sympathize with the mother, even though she killed her kids. So, clearly that thought may not be necessarily a moral thought, but just thinking that, am I suddenly condemned to hell? And I've been told many times, yep, that's a sin. Thinking that is a sin. Thinking of adultery is the same as committing adultery. No, it's not. It's clearly not. And to me, by saying that, by basing part of your religious doctrine on that, you're telling an individual their thoughts, which are often, thoughts are not always conscious. And sometimes you just can't help but think it, because thought is also controlled by emotion and other factors. You're saying that just thinking something is the same and deserving of the same punishment as committing the act. Adultery, murder, whatever. Who hasn't wanted to just strangle the shit out of somebody? You're not doing it. You're not committing murder. That person still lives. I mean, so that's always been one of my biggest problems with organized religion, especially organized religion that says thoughts are the same as actions. Is no, they're not, and I'm not going to have, I can accept my sins of action. Yeah, I can accept those because I'm a human and I commit sins of action, but thinking of a sin is not the same as doing a sin. So that's my spiel on religion. This is a whisper.